anyways, I'm gonna just quickly get into it. I wanted to talk about LaRosa and her thoughts on Marvin SAPP and the entire thing. Anyways, my parents are pastors, okay? I was raised in the church. My thoughts really on Marvin SAPP is that was regular, okay? I think how everyone is reacting and kind of like how the media is reacting is how I would have reacted when I was a kid, right? Or even now with my brother, right? So if a pastor says something that's funny, or if a pastor says something like that, you know, I would probably snicker to my brother. I would text him like, oh, I'm gonna lead the church, you know, he ain't telling me, you know, it's like, we just do whatever and we would just laugh, you know, whatever. That's just goofiness in the church. But what he did, I feel truly was regular. So I think it's funny to laugh, and to even make the jokes. I think that is pretty much what everyone is kind of doing, just making jokes at the pastor that said, oh, lock the doors, because it's not that serious. Of course, if you need to do something, if something needed to happen, you need to use the bathroom, if blah, 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 you would have been able to leave. It's not that deep. And to me, I'm hoping, I said I'm hoping, but that's what it just kind of seems like to me. The media, everyone is just kind of like, we're all just making fun of the pastor because he said a funny thing. We're all just making fun of the pastor because he said a thing. And that's just for the kids. And I'm saying that because in those moments, what that means is that I'm not tuned in. Like, I'm not connected. I'm not connected into or tapped into the spirit. Because I feel like what he was doing, he was just being used, okay, by the spirit. And however he felt led to do that, to take up an offering, is that because he was being used. And that is what's funny, because sometimes in the moment of being used, you could look like whatever and say whatever and whatever. You know, as kids, it's funny to joke about it. Even as adults, you know, whatever. It's funny to have a little response, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But what I don't like is when you take it to a place now and you're like, he needs to apologize. So now I'm responding because I'm responding. She doesn't know me. I don't know. Yeah. But I'm just saying, what I don't like is coming and saying he has to apologize for this thing, or he offended people, or all of these things. So I just wrote down a few things. She said she didn't like his tone. He was, what? I'm having a hard time reading my own dang handwriting. What did I write? He was not, I'm gonna skip that. He was assertive. She called him assertive. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he was doing. She said he understands his position in the church. He was, what? Oh, that's so annoying. What the heck was I writing? I had something in my hand while I was writing this. But anyway, yeah, I had the pen. But there was something else in my hand. Anyway, she was just saying these different things about him. Like, he knows what he's doing. You know, he's a celebrity. You know, he's a celebrity preacher. You know, he knows his position. He should not be doing things like this. And it takes away from God. It takes away from what is actually happening. He was trying to take up an offering. I haven't watched interviews with him and Ricky Smiley. I'm saying that because I was just watching LaRosa, and she was mentioning he did an interview with Ricky Smiley. And I guess in the interview he was explaining what it was and different things like that. But I haven't watched that. But I guess he was taking up an offering for the church or something. I don't know. That really doesn't matter. But however you feel led in the moment, or however he felt led in the moment, however God was using him, the Spirit was using him to take up that offering, it's just that. Why does he need to apologize for that? That's crazy. You're saying he should have thought about his tone? You saying he was assertive? He should have thought about his position in the church? He should have been thinking about what he was doing. You said he knew what he was doing? You said that, he should have been thinking about how he's a celebrity in the moment of trying to take up an offering. you know, for in the moment of being used by the Holy Spirit, he should have. No, because these are distractions. Like, these are the extra distractions that takes you away from the Spirit. It's like, yeah, I'm going here just because what she's doing is creating a distraction. Now you're going to have a bunch of people thinking it's okay to, you know, like, he needs to apologize. You're going to have people say, oh, you're going to turn what should have just stayed as, like I said earlier, kids laughing. This is us just laughing, poking, making fun at the pastor saying something funny. Of course, we could leave if we need to. And so now it's the kids laughing at the pastor saying something funny. But you're now going to take that and make it a thing that may cause... You're saying he needs to apologize for being led by the Holy Spirit. Even in the assertiveness, and even in the assertiveness, I really just feel like the only people that's really are offended by this, like offended, are probably people that didn't have the $20. Or people that don't really go to church, and or people, if you're really offended, just people that really are kind of looking for something to talk about. And it's like, you're really not offended, but you're just talking. And then that's the ridiculous part, because then it's like mentally, it's more mind, like a mind thing, because eventually you may really start to become offended because you're talking about it. And it all just started as kids just kind of making fun of, and that's what it's like. That's actually fine. And growing up, even as as a pastor's kid, I've seen it on the opposite end, right, where I'm the kid, and I've seen my parents as pastors who've been the pastors who seen the people kind of pointing and making fun, and it does affect them. It affects them, and that sucks, because they still got to go out and pastor and be, and that's heavy. In the midst of the thickness, it's heavy. It's heavy. But anyway, watching her thing, I was kind of blown away, because she said, oh, I'm good with God. And I'm not questioning her thing with God or anything like that, but it is just, I'm sorry, it's just interesting, because it's, like I said, you understand your positioning, you know? You are on the Breakfast Club. You're good with God? Are you spiritual? I guess it's like, I would want to have questions. I said I want to have questions. I don't want to sit down and talk, because I have questions. It's like, so then, you know, being good with God, because to me, I would want to know, did you not feel like he was being used by the Holy Spirit in that moment? And, you know, like, yes or no. It's like, to even take it further, it's like, if so, why does he have to apologize for that? In that moment, you know, do you think he went in and out of being used? Don't you feel like being used by the Holy Spirit could look like whatever? And really, in the grand scheme of thing, are you really offended? You know, was he really being assertive? Truly. He was being assertive? Everything you were saying, he needs to think about his tone, his this, his that, his that. Do you not think that would have taken away from the moment? And some people need to tap into that spirit, because it truly could have been a big, whatever he was trying to raise the money for, that is just a continuation of the race of whatever it was, you know, that he was doing, which is obviously the building of the kingdom and his walk and his ministry. And so to be there for, you know, like I'm saying, that's what he's doing, and then building that for him and having people connect to that. What's wrong with it? I guess that's why it's like, really, for me, people that's offended by it. I guess also, did you not attend a church where maybe not that same exact thing happened, but where something happened? Like, you don't have a church story? You know, because like that is basically just that, a church story. The kids laughing. Well, let me not say a church story like that, because people may have bad church stories, but you don't have a church story where it's funny, a funny church story, something like that. Anyways, now I'm just rapping, but that's that. All love, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.